this process that we're going through is exactly what we need to be doing, because I think empathizing and sympathizing with the different roles that all of us play is key to the process. I know the defense lawyers have a different role and different interests to protect than I do when I'm representing news organizations, and that the judge has many different interests that he or she is protecting, and the prosecutors have a different interest, and the journalists have a different interest. And I think if everyone thinks about those different interests and we try to find some common ground, that will go a long way towards solving a lot of the problems, because I think the law is fairly clear in these areas, and the law supports journalists and public access to high-profile trials and free speech and discussion. It's the public's courtrooms, and I think the law is clear, and we just need to figure out a way to make it work. Regarding information, the information is going to come out. That is absolutely clear. As we were talking about it, if we have a gag order, information comes out or speculation comes out. In the Jackson trial, there was all sorts of efforts to keep information from public view. Judge Melville wanted to protect the jury pool. We had many fights about this issue, battles, arguments. But before the jury was picked, the grand jury transcript leaked, the entire grand jury transcript, and it was widely reported. And Judge Melville was able to pick a jury in a few days, and there were no claims that jury was biased or unfair at all. And the information is going to come out. We didn't have cameras in the Jackson trial, but because of that, we were left with the creative world trying to come up with substitutes. And I've got a clip. I represented Martin Bashir during the Jackson trial, who was subpoenaed by the prosecutors. And of course, Mr. Mesereau was representing Michael Jackson, and I saw him in action. I think it would have been great for the public to see what he was doing. Instead of that, here's what we got.
Welcome back. Tom Mesereau tried and tried to portray the journalist Martin Bashir as a liar who simply buttered up Jackson with some sweet talk in order to get him to say the wrong things. As the courtroom transcript reads, here's what took place.
Mr. Bashir, on the show we just saw in this courtroom, Mr. Jackson says that nothing sexual goes on in his bedroom. To obtain that statement from Mr. Jackson, you told him that when you looked at his relationship with children, it almost made you weep, correct?
Same objections, Your Honor. California Shield Law, the First Amendment. And I object to that question as being ambiguous. The first phrase, to obtain that statement. Object to that.
The objection is overruled. Do you wish to answer that?
I don't, Your Honor.
Objection noted, Your Honor.
Yes.
Mr. Bashir, on your show, Mr. Jackson says that nothing sexual ever went on in his bedroom. To obtain that statement from him, you told him that you believe in his vision of an international children's holiday, correct?
Same objections, Your Honor. The Shield Law and the First Amendment.
Overruled.
And, Judge Melville did not say overruled that way. He was very friendly about it. Mr. Mesereau was much tougher seeming than that wimp who played him. I always wanted to know how the resumes of these actors look. Played Tom Mesereau, that would be bad enough on E! Entertainment Reenactment. And then the poor guy has to put that he played me. It's very sad. But I think that that to me makes the point. The people are going to, the press and entertainment channels and others are going to try to report on things or try to discuss things, and it's better to have the official information. And I think we've talked about it, we've heard about it, we talked about it in our breakout session, getting together with the judge and with the court staff to try to determine a way to lay ground rules that everyone can live with, at least for the most part, in advance of the trial or the proceedings is key. That happened to a certain degree in the Michael Jackson case. And we had a pool coordinator, Peter Shapin, who you'll hear from tomorrow. The journalists banded together, dealt with Daryl Parker and the court staff, and I think the one thing that was missing is we never really did sit down with the judge ahead of time, but and map out some rules on what should be, what shouldn't be sealed, how the lawyers should be able to communicate at least background information about the case, rather than hearing from the pundits who don't know what's really happening. And I think there were middle ground places that would have served the purpose, and that communication would be helpful.